Meeting is being live stream. Got it.
One second. We are live. I'm bringing up our introduction. Mhm. Okay. I remember to click the audio. Thank you for joining us. Just bringing up the introduction.
Yes, come on in. Come on in. Bring a friend.
Champion parents, thank you for tuning in to Parenting in Rhythm. We certainly appreciate your support and hope you learn practical parenting information that you can apply to your life. If you are interested in chatting with us and want to share parenting tips, or if there is a specific topic you would like 3R to address on the show, please feel free to contact us by visiting our website. Please visit and check out our other social media platforms to connect with us. And tune in every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Champion parents, until next time, continue to provide and support your children.
All right. All right. Hello, hello, champion parents, and welcome to Parenting in Rhythm. Parenting in Rhythm is a community-based movement built around conversations, shared resources, and empowerment. Based on our research and experience, it is evident that knowledge, support, and parenting skills will empower and help to decrease feelings of inadequacy and many other negative feelings adopted when parents feel overwhelmed. We are all in this together. And so come talk to us, chime in on the live, and invite someone special. What is a champion parent? A champion parent has a winning attitude regardless of the situation. Parenting styles different from household to household, but a true champion parent trusts and believes in their own efforts. A champion knows and understands that parenting isn't easy, but it can and will be rewarding. So today we are so excited, very excited to have our very special guest, Shireen Allen Youngblood. She is a parent to one teenage daughter. Ooh, amen, sister. But she's a parent to one teenage daughter, but has many years of experience working with children who come from a diverse and traumatic background. She has worked in the child welfare system for over 25 years in various roles. She is currently serving as the chair of the Tri-County Foster Care Coalition. She also works for the Children's Center as the community outreach recruiter. So Shireen is here today to give us an update or get us up to date on information about adoption, foster care, and independent living. One of the great things about Shireen, if she does not know the information, she will get it to the right person. Who does? Okay, so Resource is her middle name. Okay, all right, Miss Resource. So
Right.
welcome.
So welcome, Shireen Resource Allen Youngblood.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate that, and especially about this particular subject matter. It's something that is always close to my heart, and I advocate for. And my grandmother was a social worker, so sometimes I feel like I get it naturally, but then there are other times where I just know that this has kind of been my calling.
Yeah, well, we definitely appreciate it because I definitely appreciate. I know May was National Adoption or National Foster Care Month or
Yes.
Adoption Month.
Yeah, National Foster Care Month.
Foster Care Month. Okay, yeah, and I know that you were just sharing an abundance of information on foster care, and I was just resharing, and I was like, oh yeah, Shireen got to come on, just to help our parents become more knowledgeable as far as the adoption process, the process of foster care, just the entire process, because I felt like you had just an abundance of information to share.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. There is a lot of information out there. One of the things that, my goal for Foster Care Awareness Month during May was to dispel some myths, but also to definitely get out information and even resources for those who may be fostering or who may be thinking about it, so that they are able to have it at their fingertips and to learn and know.
Good. So what is the
Can I just add, I'm sorry, I just wanted to add, I'm loving the background, I'm a kid at heart, so that whole background is just, that's what I've been staring at the whole time, like, wow,
I know, it's really nice. What's the background?
This is actually in the building of our 79, which is one on our main campus. So this is what you walk into a lot of times when you come visit us, when the campus is open. So yeah, absolutely.
So is that the one by Wayne State?
Yes, we're right on Alexandrine between Woodward and Cass, and like what I call the Wayne State Midtown area.
Okay, I've been there before, across from the subway, right?
Yep.
That's one of our buildings, but that I'm referring to is across on Woodward, on the west side of Woodward.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, I think it seems like I've been there before too, because that looks familiar. Your background, but yeah, probably, maybe. But just let's jump into some of the questions that we have for you. Just have a few questions to ask. So what is the process of adoption?
So when it comes to adoption, the process is, of course, you make an inquiry, you contact us, and then what we do, we set you up with orientation. And after we have orientation, then you generally we want you to become foster parents, and there's a reason for that. Everything you do in becoming a foster parent will lead to adoption. But it also, one of the reasons why we want you to be foster parents is it allows the child to be placed in your home prior to adoption occurring. That family, that opportunity to get to know one another. Is this a good match? Is this a good fit? Because to be honest, not all the time does that happen. So I think it's important. Yes, we have great successes when it comes to foster care and adoption, but there are times that it's just not a good fit, and that's okay. But it allows that opportunity to have and to happen. If you do decide to orientation, you sign your application. After you sign your application, you're actually assigned a worker who will stick with you the entire process. And so to make sure that you become licensed, and that we lead to what potentially the type of child that you want to adopt, age range, gender characteristics, all those things that go into it. And then once that occurs, then your adoption will occur. We petition the court for you to adopt that child. And then if that court petition is approved, then what happens is it's as if you gave birth to that child yourself, and you have all legal and moral responsibilities to that child. And so that's really kind of how to get to adoption. So adoption is really just that child legally becoming yours as if they gave birth. In the process of adoption, the birth certificate is changed to indicate that you whether you're a single person or a married person who adopts that child, it will indicate on the birth certificate that you are their parent.
Okay, so the birth certificate is altered, and you
correct, it's changed.
The parent, yeah. So does it differ from, like, okay, so I know you're over Wayne County, or you're over the state of Michigan?
So we can license anybody in the state of Michigan.
Okay, cool.
For the most part, because of geographical locations and just logistics, we generally stay within Wayne County, Oakland County, and Macomb County. But we have foster parents everywhere. So it's just we service those foster parents, and we service in those communities, and we can license and adopt anybody in the state of Michigan.
Okay. So, and then what are the requirements for adoption?
So there aren't like some huge amount of requirements when it comes to adoption. You have to be at least 18 years of age, so you have to be a legal adult. You have to, of course, you have a criminal background check and a central registry check. And central registry is for if there's any abuse or neglect in your past, if you've been a perpetrator. And then with the criminal history, there are some incidents that will keep you from adoption, but there are times where people have had, maybe they got arrested because of a suspended driver's license. Maybe they got arrested when they were 19 because they committed larceny, but now they're 30 years old and haven't been involved with the law again. So yes, we want you, of course, preferably no criminal history, but there are times that we have had parents who have made mistakes, come from their mistakes, and make great, foster/adoptive parents.
Okay. Yeah, that's awesome. That, any parent, well, of course, a quality parent will be open to be able to be adopted and be able to approve for the adoption process. So that's awesome. Why should adoption be considered?
So I'll say this, at any given time in the state of Michigan, there are 3,000 children waiting to be adopted. Currently 300 children who don't have any identified persons that need to be adopted. Their parental rights have been terminated. And so they're waiting to find, in essence, their forever families. So to me, just that alone, and knowing that there are 3,000 children that are potentially in the process of being adoption, but that 10% still don't have identified families. So they're sitting there waiting for that parent to be cared, to be loved. And I won't say they aren't cared or to be loved, but to have that for forever.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if I missed it because my connection was kind of faulty, but so I know that there's a process of them being in foster care, and then where does like a group home, and then let me know if I'm jumping ahead, but what's the process of them being in an actual group home, as it relates like from foster care? Where are they at before they go to foster care?
So when children come into care, they come directly from their parental home, and they don't necessarily go to a group home or a facility. We're always looking for foster homes which is the least restrictive setting when it comes to children and taking care of children. So when they come out of their parental home, because of the allegations of abuse and neglect, they are placed into a foster home. A group home or a residential facility comes into play if there is either not a placement, unfortunately, for that child, or maybe that child's needs are beyond what can be provided in a traditional foster home. So maybe they go to residential for a little while before they then scale back down to a foster home.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, that's definitely good information. So
I was just going to say that's one of the most kind of the biggest misconceptions that people think is that when children come into care, they automatically go, or we have this picture, they go into like an orphanage or a group kind of setting.
Yes.
That's not the case. We are trying not to traumatize that child any further because even though, and I would say, no matter how severe the abuse may have been, that child is placed into a foster home, and that child will always love their parents. And that's just because we are, to some extent, like ducklings. The first person we see, the first person we know, that's who we love as children. And that it's just, kids are placed into another home. We want to make sure that we support them being from one home to another. It's just that that opportunity for parents to potentially put themselves back together and rectify the situation.
And this is I don't know if this is a silly question or not. So does it, and I don't know if the term is still the same, like, are there still orphanages out here?
No, so we don't have orphanages here in the United States. So that was, I want to say it was probably outdated in about, I'm gonna say the 60s or the 70s. And so what happens now is that you have foster care, but you do have sometimes, like I said before, residential placements, shelter placements, because it's a temporary until we can find the appropriate placement for that child.
Okay. So is it better to adopt as a single person or as if you have a family?
It doesn't matter. That's one of the things your marital status doesn't matter when it comes to you being a foster parent. And when it comes to adoption, of course, you can be a single parent and adopt. If you want to adopt and take care of a child, then adopt and take care of a child. So it's just, that should never be a consideration to say, oh, I have to have this family. That's just not simply possible. One of the things people also worry about when it comes to adoptions are finances. And one of the things I always say this, you don't have to be this rich, making hundreds of $1,000s a year person. We're just looking at, when we look at your finances, because we do look at your finances, we just want to make sure that you're able to sustain your current lifestyle. So if you make $1,000 a month, but only spend $900, you can be a foster parent. You're able to budget, you're sustaining your life. And that's where that comes into.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's just a good aspect to look, because I know some people think that it's better for a child to be placed in a marital home as opposed to a single family home.
Yeah.
It just depends, and like you said, it just depends on how you manage your finances and how much of a stable environment the child you can provide for that child.
Right.
But I think that was a stipulation it seemed like that was a stipulation that was years ago, maybe, because I am so outdated over here, like maybe back in the 60s, that it had to be a joint marriage, or a 2-parent home.
I'm not absolutely, of course that was preferred, 2-parent home, or what we consider as traditional home of, a male and a female, they're married, they have children. Yes, absolutely. But that is not the case. Parental, what a family looks like differs in regular everyday community. So it should be the same in foster care. That's something that we definitely don't necessarily look at as far as your marital status. And that's not something that we want to know that you have a stable and loving environment. And if you have that, no matter what that makeup may be, then that's am able to provide care for children, then that's what's important.
Okay, and this is my last question about that. Is there funding that is given to people that decide to go into foster care?
So yes, absolutely. It's considered a reimbursement. It's not considered like you're being paid for a job or anything. It's a reimbursement because you are caring for that child. And it varies, that reimbursement varies depending on the age of the child, the needs of that child, because of what you have to do to care for those needs. Teenagers, of course, you are given a higher, what we consider a per diem, just because they're older and they generally have more needs. And that than younger children. But yes, you do receive a daily per diem, and that also you receive usually a semi-annual clothing order. And sometimes in some special cases, you receive additional funding on top of that, because of what you're doing to take care of that child.
Okay.
Nice.
You can get adoption subsidy as well. That has to be approved. And if you get approved with an adoption subsidy, they also stay on, or Medicaid becomes their secondary insurance all the way up until the age of 18. So even if they're added to your insurance because you have them, that's your child now, you've added them to your insurance, they still maintain that Medicaid all the way up until 18.
Okay, good. So that's good that there's resources available to help maintain your lifestyle as well as the child's lifestyle.
Right.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what's the difference between a foster home and adoption? I think we touched bases on that a little bit, but
we did a little bit. So foster home is, it's a temporary setting. We know that the children are getting ready to, and the ultimate goal of foster care, of course, is reunification. We want to put the family back together. We want to give them those support services. Foster parents are a part of that. Because they take care of the kids, but they can also model what's appropriate parenting. But adoption is forever. That means that this child is yours, that you have all the say so, that the state and everybody is no longer as part of input, and that this is your child. So that's really, foster care is about temporary, adoption is about permanency.
Okay. Yep. So when they're removed from their
Mm-hmm.
parental home, they transition to foster care, and then eventually
Correct. So
they go to
right.
adoption. Mhm.
So, and just to give you kind of a brief overview to help with understanding the system, is that somebody usually makes an allegation to Child Protective Services. Child Protective Services goes out and investigates those allegations. Then if they feel like there's enough evidence or that yes, this isn't true, they petition the court for that child to be brought into protective custody. Of course, a trial happens, and then if that judge or referee makes a determination based on the law that children are made temporary court wards,
Mhm.
then they enter into a treatment plan.
Mhm.
Have to complete their treatment plan before the children are returned home. If they don't complete their treatment plan or don't benefit from it, then what happens is we file a supplemental petition to terminate parental rights. And then if the judge or referee, another trial happens, that judge or referee decides based again on the law, if parental rights to be terminated. If children are committed to what is called the Michigan Children's Institute, and that's basically the state of Michigan is their parents, and that's when they become viable for adoption. So Michigan, just to give you some kind of technical points of it, Michigan is what is called a concurrent planning state. That means we are always working on two plans at one time. The ultimate plan, Plan A, is reunification for parents, unless the abuse is so severe. Some children do come in under a permanent custody petition. That means we are not looking to reunify. And that's usually in pretty severe cases that happens, or cases where it's this are younger siblings and this is a repeated event and older siblings have already been terminated on.
Mhm.
And then, so the concurrent planning state to
Mhm.
at one time. The first plan is to reunify, and the secondary plans are what we call adoption, which is what we're kind of here talking about today, guardianship, which could be another permanent kind of situation, and then for what we consider older youth that are like 16 and up, another planned living arrangement. So that's trying to get them ready to be out there on their own.
Okay. Yeah. So is it a certain time, like, so it's not a time frame. I know foster care is temporary, but could it be more so considered, I guess, long term if an adoption process doesn't come up? I guess it just varies.
So some foster parents actually just want to foster. I have some foster parents where they're not looking to adopt, but they're willing to foster until that forever family is found for those
Okay.
children. So yes, while it is temporary, there are times that children remain in care or in foster care because we're looking for that forever family. And that kind of where I talked about those 300 children that are waiting for those forever families. That's
Mhm.
what happens. The foster parent is not, it's nothing against the child. They just don't plan to adopt at this point. They want to provide that temporary care and match them with that forever family.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I'm just thinking I'm a teacher perspective when I was in education, and I just remember, yeah, a couple of students were transitioning, and then they had to maybe be removed from the school or transferred to another school because they were being adopted. So yeah, that makes sense to me. Mhm.
Right. And so,
Yeah.
one of the things we work hard for when it comes to, I'll say in foster care, is that we try not to transition children to other schools if possible. So that's even more of a reason why we need foster parents in our community, because moving from your parental home is already traumatic.
Mhm.
And so then now you're in this foster home. But not only that, now you got to go to a different school. You have to learn all these new rules. So if you have a foster parent who's in the same community, you can still go to the same school, but you can be in that foster home, and at least that's one less change you have to worry about.
Right. Right. Yeah. Because we know how difficult change can be for children that already had a traumatic experience.
Right.
To just become comfortable in one setting and then having to uproot them can be traumatic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So how can we learn more about the adoption process?
So if you want to learn, I always say it's really easy. If you want to learn more about adoption, all you have to do is call me.
Mhm.
And so the number in which you can reach me is 313 313-262-1119. Again, 313-262-1119. Or go onto our website, thechildrencenter.com. And we have a page where you can put in an inquiry, and it'll come to me, and then I'll reach out to you about what you're interested in. Because sometimes we need to ask those questions one-on-one, and I'm more than happy to answer those questions.
So I'm typing it in the chat. You said www.children's with an S?
Yeah, thechildren's with an S center.com.
Okay, so it's the children's. Okay. I'll make sure I'm typing it in the chat.
Okay.
For people who are interested, because many people are interested and they just don't know the steps to go on about adoption or becoming a foster parent.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the things, it's always, people are always scared to take that first step, but just take the first step, and you're not forced just because you call. If you make that call, it's not like you're going to become a foster parent or make you become a foster parent. No, we're just going to talk about it. We're just find a way so you'll know what to expect. Pre-service training that you have to have, even as an adoptive parent, there's training that you have to have, and that's just because we want to prepare you. We want you to know what to look forward to, but also to be prepared for.
Yeah, it's nice that they have you to help them for every step of the way. You just think that you just thrust in there, but it's good that you have people there to help you every step of the way during your process.
Right.
Yeah.
Support is important. In life, we need support. I definitely believe that, to me, foster care kind of puts the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child. Because it really does take us as a village. It takes all those working parts to help that child from that traumatic experience, but also help put the family back together, to help parents learn new parenting skills. So it really plays a part, or in some cases where they have to have that forever home for adoption.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, we definitely appreciate you for coming. You gave us a lot of information, which I knew you would, because when you were sharing the post, I was like, wait a minute, Shereen giving us some information. So,
Yeah,
we definitely.
Yeah, it is. And it's nothing that you learn in one day, that's for sure. But anytime you have a question or anything, you need anything, I always say, don't hesitate to call. And if I'm not sure, I'll know to get you to the right person who will, or I'll get that information for you. So
yeah, definitely some great information. We definitely appreciate you for coming. I know I've talked to a few people over the years who either were thinking about going through the process or who were actually going through the process. Actually, a friend of mine, she just adopted. I want to say it's been maybe 2 years now. I think it's been that long. Yeah. So it's a beautiful blessing to have people that actually want to do that. So champion parents out there, if you are interested, if you're thinking about it, please contact Ms. Shereen Youngblood if you are here in Michigan, of course. So please reach out. Again, Ms. April did put the number in the chat, 313-262-1119. Again, Shereen Youngblood, thank you for spending this time with us and giving us some great information.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. I always love to get that information out there, and to know that, and believe it or not, you can learn a lot by being a foster parent. Sometimes it even helps with your own children. Yes, absolutely.
Look, I'm like, amen. Oh, amen. Yes. So again, thank you, champion parents. Thank you for your support. Thank you for chiming in with us this evening. Please remember that today is always a good day to make positive changes. One day by one day. Never be too hard on yourself. Be sure to allow room for when things don't go as planned. Possibilities are endless for redirecting negative behaviors and nurturing skills in your children. Remember, champion parents, if you are interested and chatting with us is like, slow down, Lisa. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so champion parents, if you're interested in chatting with us, please feel free to send us a message or visit the website at www.parentingandrhythm.net. We welcome and want you to know, we want to know what works for you while successfully raising your children, as it may be a treasure to others. Please email, continue to check the website for updates, shows and events. Visit our Facebook page and stay connected to our Facebook group. You know, post something, chime in on the chat, because there are some funny topics sometimes, some good, interesting topics in the chat on Facebook. So, you know, just join us.
I have stuff that I'll be dying. I'll be up at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I'll be dying laughing, and I'll post it.
Yes, I love it. Yep. Yep. So again, thank you. And until next time, good people.
Champion parents, thank you for tuning in to Parenting in Rhythm. We certainly appreciate your support and hope you learn practical parenting information that you can apply to your life. If you are interested in chatting with us and want to share parenting tips, or if there is a specific topic you would like 3R to address on the show, please feel free to contact us by visiting our website. Please visit and check out our other social media platforms to connect with us, and tune in every Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Champion parents, until next time, continue to provide and support your children.